Hey everyone, it is time for WivesWineDown. Yes, and just in case you missed the memo today, the first black woman vice president of the United States of America, Kamala. Thank you. Shout out to black-owned businesses. But yes, today is such a special day, not just because it's WivesWineDown, but clearly history was made today. And unless you've been living on a rock somewhere, even though I had some people earlier that was clearly, they didn't know what was going on, but we won't get into that. It wasn't people y'all probably know. But I was like, how did y'all miss the memo? Today is the day. And then I'm like, we got WivesWineDown tonight. Like, this couldn't have been even better. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. Hey y'all, see y'all popping in. Hey Jasmine, hey Renita, hey Shanika and Tiffany, and Mrs. Sanford. Yes, I love y'all. Welcome. Yes, exactly, Tiffany. Like, I just can't. They're like, is something special going on? Why you got those pearls on? Because my vice president is a woman and she's black and she's first, like, everything. Thank you. But anyway, I digress. Anyway, welcome to WivesWineDown. I am your host. I love to have fun, as you can see. And I have been married for 12 years to my wonderful husband. I'm happily married. And I wanted to create this outlet to have a place where we could come and just pull back the curtain on marriage and just have some real girl talk, some life and love, real talk about dating and what it means to be married and what it takes to stay married. And so whether you're single or married, this is a welcome and open space for everyone because we all have been there and you got to be single before you get married, obviously. So I created this safe space because I was really like, what goes into, like, I feel like I mastered the whole dating thing and, you get married, but then I got married and I was like, okay, now what? Like, what does it mean to be a wife? And then, like, we would go through certain things in our relationship and I was like, is this what marriage is? Like, I'm so confused. And then I realized, like, oh, this is normal. Like, this is what couples go through, even in an unhealthy relationship. And so I just wanted to create that space because I felt like nobody was talking about, like, the real deal when it comes to marriage and relationships. And so this is why I created this platform, and I'm so excited. Again, if you're just joining, thank you to my day ones. I appreciate y'all. We are going to have a kiki good time. We keep it real. We keep it honest. And most importantly, we have some, serious discussions about real life and real talk because it's all about women empowerment. And I don't say that lightly because obviously we got that first black vice president. Come on now. What? So I do not take that very lightly. So I appreciate you all for supporting and bring your friends and make sure you grab your drinks because we'll be toasting it up. You can drink throughout, but we'll be toasting it up later on. So without further ado, let me bring on our wonderful guest tonight. I'm so excited. I know she's excited as well. Sure, I would assume because of the colors that she wears. Shout out, drop in the chat how y'all feeling about today. Hey, Jasmine.
Hey, Shonda.
Don't you look so pretty?
Good evening.
Yes, I'm loving the braids. Is it twist or braids? Looks like
They're
twists.
twists. Yeah, they're twists. Yeah.
I love me some twists. Yes.
Well, how you doing?
Listen, I am fine. No, how are you doing today?
Had tears in my eyes. Like, just let me tell you, watching history, and I had to, sit there and explain the significance of it to my daughter who watched it with me. So, I mean, it was just amazing.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I'm like, I was telling my little AK friends, I said, y'all better go off today, okay? Like, because this is, but it's, it's so much more than that. Like, even beyond whether you're AK, Delta, whatever, none of that. Like, this was a major moment for all of us as women, like, from all types of background, because Kamala represents so much. The HBCUs, just everything. And so to see pictures of little girls, like, next to the TV, and they're like, oh my gosh, she looks like me. I was crying right with you today. So this is just such a moment. And tonight you on WivesWineDown. I'm like, we are lit. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I was sitting up there recording it with my phone. My son was in the background making. I was like, shh. I gotta get this.
Yes. Well, let me introduce you to the people. A lot of people know who you are, but let me introduce them to those who may not be familiar. So my guest tonight, everyone, Jasmine Womack is a writing consultant and corporate trainer who helps high-performing leaders, professionals, entrepreneurs, and executives connect with others, package their expertise, and maximize their message through storytelling. Over the past 3 years, she has worked with over 400 authors to help them increase their influence and grow an expert platform through writing a book and teaching them how to expand their book into a profitable and scalable information-based business. Her personal belief is that you should use your gifts, which I love, knowledge, expert information, and skills to glorify God and impact the world. And when you do, your gift will make room for you. In her spare time, she enjoys family gatherings and spending time with her husband and 4 children. So y'all chop it up in the chat and give it up for Jasmine.
Thanks so much, Shonda. Thanks for inviting me. I'm super excited.
Yes, it's been a long time. I'm like, we say fairly connected through social media, but for those of you all, Jasmine and I, we did like a few events back in the, probably like a few years ago. Gosh, everything seems like forever pre-COVID. But so I'm just happy. I'm glad you said yes and that you're on tonight.
Like, it's so weird. It's so weird to feel like, you know what, it's been over a year since I've been to an in-person conference. And like, it just feels so weird. I'm like, I'm ready to get on a plane and go to an event. It's literally been a year, over a year.
When I tell you I'm so ready to go somewhere, oh my God. Woo, it's been rough, but we making it. But speaking of, how are you doing? You know, obviously there's a lot of excitement, but how have you been during like the pandemic? Like, how are you feeling this week?
Everything has been good, you know. Of course, I'm just thankful that, you know, for me personally, I haven't had any family members impacted. And, you know, I'm grateful about that, you know, because I have family, several members of my family who are cancer survivors that have suppressed immune systems. And so like my family is really close. Like we used to do like family dinners every single, like once a month, like where me, my sister, aunts, brothers, we would all come together and, you know, have a big family dinner. So like, instead of waiting until Thanksgiving to do that, we would do that at least once a month.
Wow.
And to just not be able to have that connection and not be able to like really be around everybody like that it brings things into perspective and really makes you a lot more grateful, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I've had friends that have lost mothers, a lot of relatives. And so when I say I'm good, I'm just thankful that, you know, my family they've been okay,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that we've been in a position to be able to support others,
Mm-hmm.
you know, throughout their challenging times and losses. And just for that, I'm grateful. We're all, you know, for that, I'm grateful.
Oh my God, that's beautiful. Claudine, hey, Fit with 3, Claudine. She said that's definitely something to be grateful for. It absolutely is, because I think it's easy to forget, like, yeah, like people have lost lots of family members, and I'm kind of like you, like there have been certain people in my family affected by it, but it was like very minimal compared to like what others have gone through. So like you said, that's definitely something to be grateful for. It's like, no, I can't see my family like I used to, but just to know that everybody's healthy and still here in 2021.
Right. And I can pick up the phone and you're going to answer. So I'm just really grateful about that, because I know for a lot of people, that's not the case, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, that's beautiful. Hey, Tiana. She said, hey, ladies. Hey, girl. Hi. Sponsors. So I want to go back to the beginning with your husband, because your husband was very persistent. Apparently, from what I've read, he was very persistent about dating you, and you were obviously hesitant for a good reason. So I want you to tell the people a little bit about like how you went from nah, ain't got time to, you know.
Girl, that story right there was okay. So I was a middle school educator for 12 years. And at the time that I was teaching 8th grade, one of my students was a young lady, and her dad and granddad were always there. Like, her mom wasn't ever really present. It was always her dad. I mean, parent-teacher conferences, orientation, he's there, you know.
Aww.
So you know, of course, you know, teachers were mostly women. So I was like, oh, he's attractive, but you know, you say somebody's attractive, you're going about your business or whatever. So we went through the whole year, right? Like literally through the whole academic year. Wasn't on my radar because at the time, you know, I was Mrs. 8th grade teacher, that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it was around the end of her 8th grade year. And what happened? We were at the 8th grade dance. So she was 8th grade. So I used to chaperone and help set up the dance every single year. I was on the committee. So I had been there, you know, all of that. And of course, before the dance starts, I take off my teacher clothes, you know, the khakis or whatever, and the shirts and chucks. And I put on a dress and heels. It's the 8th grade formal. So I'm just doing my thing, chaperoning, what I normally do, you know, admiring all the kids dressed up in formal wear, gowns and things like that. And so I had seen him in the cafeteria, and I was just shaking my head. I was like, he can't let this girl enjoy her time. That was the first thing I thought. Like, he cannot let this girl enjoy her evening with her friends. Like, here comes Mr. Helicopter Parent.
Right.
You know, that's what I was thinking. Here comes Mr. Helicopter Parent, you know. I mean, and he had on a tux, vest and some slacks with the shirt to match her dress. It was cute, but let the girl live, you know?
Yes.
So,
yes.
But I saw him, and I just went over, and he didn't see me, so I just tapped his arm and I said, hey, hey, Mr. Womack or whatever. And so he looked, and then I was like, hey, and he was like, hey, he was looking weird. I was like, I'm Siobhan's teacher. And he was like, who? I was like, I'm Siobhan's English teacher. And he was like, oh, that's like, because he had never seen me, you know, dressed up, like, not in teacher wear. So this whole vibe changed, and I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. So what happened was, he started trying to chat with me, and he was flirting with me, smiling in my face and all this and that, and I was like, I gotta go, you know.
Bye.
But he was persistent about having a conversation with me in the cafeteria during this dance. And so what happened was, another teacher literally came and walked in between the two of us, and her back was to me, and she started talking to him. Like, she came and walked in between the two of us and took over the conversation and started talking to him. I was like, oh, okay then, you can have him. I wasn't studying anyway. Like, I'm going by my, like. And so I started going, I went on, I left, and he was like, well, wait. And he was still trying to talk to me. So at the end of the dance, we were all out in the hallway outside of the cafeteria. And, you know, parents, you know, they try to take pictures with the teachers or ask teachers to take pictures of them and their kids. So that's what I was doing. I was out there taking pictures of, you know, kids and their parents coming to pick them up or whatnot. So I was taking a picture of him and his daughter, and he asked me to get in the picture with him. So I was like, okay, sure, no problem, because I take pictures with parents all the time. Been doing it for years. So I took somebody took the picture of us. I didn't think nothing about it. I went out with the teachers afterwards. You know, we went out to somewhere out for Memorial for dinner and drinks or whatever. And next thing I know, 4 o'clock in the morning, my phone is off the chain. So it was my ex-boyfriend who sent me this picture of me and John. That's his name. Me and John and the girls taken at the 8th grade dance. And so he started saying all of this stuff. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, first of all, me and you've been broke up for like 3 or 4 months. So even if I was talking to him, it's none of your business. But I'm not. He's a parent. What are you talking about? So he was making all these accusations. So I go on Facebook to see what's going on. So apparently John put the picture on Facebook. And I didn't know that he was friends or Facebook friends with a recent ex of mine. Well, yeah, somebody I had broke up with, had dated, somebody I knew from college, had dated for a few months, and we, you know, went our separate ways. And I didn't know that they were Facebook friends, or better yet, that's exactly why he was an ex. Exactly. Or better yet, I didn't know that they knew each other growing up or went to the same high school or whatnot. And so he saw this picture once John posted it and made an assumption talking about his hand was on my waist. So I was just like, what are you talking about? It was totally foolish. So when I say like that, and so I had put some pictures on Facebook too from the 8th grade dance of me, some of the kids. So it was another mutual friend who saw the picture of me and his daughter and tagged him in it. I was like, God dang it. I was like, I stayed undercover for years. Nobody ever found me. No parents ever found me. Somebody else who knew him tagged him in the picture with his daughter. He found me, sent me a friend request. I was like, I got to accept the friend request. I just see, you know. So I accepted a friend request and he jumped into my DMs talking about, hey, it was nice meeting you the other night, but I got a question for you. Are you dating somebody named such and such? And I was like, no, that's 3-4 months ago. He was like, well, he's DMing me all this stuff about you.
No.
So he was like, he's saying you this and he's saying you that, you this and you that. And he was like, to be honest with you, as a man, for a man to sweat a woman like that, it makes me even that more interested.
Because your ex was trying to block.
Right. And so I didn't know that any of this was going on until he told me. And so he was literally John was sending me the screenshots of the conversations that my ex was DMing him and all this stuff he was saying. And I was just like, and at the time I was mortified because I was just like, yeah, oh my gosh, because I was like, I'm so sorry. This is so unprofessional. I'm so sorry that you got caught in the middle of this. You know, and because I could have gotten in trouble for that. I'm almost certain I could have. And so my ex was basically hounding him in the DMs until John snapped on him, and I ended up blocking him. And so I blocked him. He created a fake page and started following me, and I blocked him on there. And then because he knew my routines and stayed around the corner from where I was living at the time, I was living with my mom at the time because I had gone through a divorce 2 years prior. And so I had rented my house out as a rental property and was just living with my mom to just kind of get things together because I had a 5-month-old when I divorced. So instead of taking all that on by myself, my family was there to support. So he lived around the corner from my mom's house and he knew my routine. He knew every day when I got off of work, I would go home, I would get my baby, and I would spend some time with her and take her to the park. So he started showing up at the park where he knew that I would be because he knew my routine. He started showing up at the park with doing really suspicious stuff, like riding around, stopping, rolling down the window, like intimidation tactics. And so I ended up having to put a restraining order on him.
Oh Lord!
And it was foolish, but
then you got with your husband,
right? And so what happened? John was consistent throughout that process, and he supported me. You know, so that's why I shared all that stuff that happened. Really is what connected me and my husband, because we were talking about it when I had to go to court. He was sending me the screenshots and all of this because I had it as proof of the things that the ex was doing or whatnot. And so he was just supportive. And the last day of school came and he was like, will you go out on a date with me? And I was just like, no. And I was like, because you're still a parent. And he was like, well, my daughter only got like another week in your class. And so I agreed to go out to dinner with him. So we went out to dinner like literally the last week of school. He was like, I really think that we're supposed to be together. And I was like, not. I'm not dating. I was like, if you can't tell, it's a lot of drama. And I don't want to bring that drama into anything else. I said, so I'm going on a sabbatical. And I said, actually, I'm on a sabbatical and it'll be over in about 6 months. And he was like, well, I'll be right there. So he actually, over the summer, we became friends. We would talk. He started dating somebody else, but we were just cool. But literally around October of that year, my sabbatical ended and he had broken up with whoever he was dating. He asked me out to breakfast. My friend was like, you should go. And I went, and 2 months later he proposed, and a week later we got married at the courthouse. So that's literally how it happened. I didn't mean for it to be long-winded, but I had to tell that story.
Yeah, you listen. I was like, well, she got all the details, but that's some details, honey. Like, that's a lot. And like you said, for him to, I was even going to talk about that later, about like having what support looks like. I'm like, that's support even before like businesses, the extra stuff, but like having someone who can go through the trials and the ups and downs with you. And like, especially when someone is literally tarnishing your name and
Right.
trying to ruin your reputation and trying to like block your blessing, literally, like, woo,
Right.
that's and I mean, you went on a 6-month sabbatical and he was like, I'll be waiting. Like,
and he was, and he literally was. He picked right up and was like, can you meet me for breakfast? I met him for breakfast, and literally it's been nonstop since.
wow. Somebody said you got a Lifetime movie.
Let me tell y'all have no clue. We still laugh about it to this day, though.
I mean, you have to laugh to keep from crying. Yes.
We laugh about the whole thing, because literally that was the thing that connected us. It was my crazy ex-boyfriend. Had that not ever happened, he probably would have just remained a parent who thought I was maybe a cute teacher once I dressed up.
Listen, I'm like, I hear a book. My crazy ex-boyfriend helped me find my husband.
Man, listen.
Come on, book. But it does sound like a Lifetime movie too. I'm like, you might want to get a script together.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, I knew there was a story behind it, but I definitely was like, now that's a story. Like, oh my goodness.
I mean, he was with me through I had to go to court and all of that. And when I got out of court, he was the first one to message me. How did it go? What happened? You know, and to think, you know, you don't have to meet a lot of people like that who wouldn't form judgment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know this person, but she obviously got a lot of drama going on because but to draw closer to you because of that.
I can have that treat.
You can have it.
Okay, and when if I can have?
No, that'll be it tonight. Okay.
Mama, I mean, when you come back, you can get another one.
Yes.
For me, is I.
No, he's not supposed to be in here right now.
It's a, you know what I love though? He said, "Excuse me." At least he had manners. He's like, I know I'm not supposed to interrupt, but
Right.
Excuse me. Listen, this is living in a panoramic, you know, or a pandemic, as some people call it.
Right.
AKA the pandemic. But this is life. Like, you juggling. Speaking of, like, you juggle a lot. And I know you always talk about, or you've talked about before, like, you know, taking that time to just like to unplug from everything. How do you and your husband find time? Because y'all have the kids, you have your business, like his profession. Like, how are you making sure that y'all like unplug and actually have that time?
It's in the refrigerator. Go outside and get it, okay? We lean on our family, and my bonus daughter is in college. So, you know, I mean, she's still home. So from time to time, we'll have her watch the kids, or, you know, take the kids to our in-laws or something like that, so that we can get some time in. On Christmas Eve, like, my sister wanted the kids. So while the kids were with my sister, we snuck off to have dinner, you know, have coffee and enjoy desserts and things like that. So we just try to find the time and in the spaces. It's been difficult though with virtual school, because it was easier when the kids were in school, because while they were in school, we could duck off to have a quick lunch. But with them being virtually, and with my daughter literally being at the computer from 8 to 1 on days, it's challenging. So that's when we come in, like on the weekends, or try to find time during those points. And what it's been recently is sending the kids to bed, making sure that we at least get some time, whether they're in bed or whether they're watching TV, and we can just connect and spend a little bit of time at that point in time. Jair, now we talked about this. Now, if you keep messing around, you're not going to get the treat, okay? I can't help you right now. Mommy's busy, okay? So you got to wait. You got to be patient. And then when I'm finished, you'll get the treat. Now you're going to get in trouble. You got 1.
Uh-oh.
You got 2.
Listen, but your patience. Yeah. Angela said, yes, those dates when the kids were in school were clutch. Like,
yeah,
I know she knows all too well. She has 2 boys, but yeah, that's real life.
And bedtime on time.
On time
is the key. On time is the key. So like even tonight I had to bargain with my kids. I'm like, listen, I have an interview. It's just us tonight. And the plans didn't go, the childcare plans didn't go as planned. So look, you guys can sit in my bed and watch TV. When I finish, you'll get a treat. Don't come downstairs. See, asking about that treat. Like, no, bro, you gonna have to wait.
Right. We already had negotiations about this. I love it, but it just shows how it's just real life for so many women, especially so many women who tune in. There was a quote on your page that you posted one day where you said, I was putting all this excess pressure on myself trying to reach those lofty goals. And I've learned to let go of control, put God before the goals, put in the work, and release the pressure. Don't stress yourself into success, which I love. And I was wondering, though, when it comes to marriage, did you ever feel that same type of pressure as it related to like being a wife and being married or being a bonus mom?
Most definitely. I felt the pressure to overperform, quote unquote. I felt the pressure to always be on, to try to have this TV-esque life. Like everybody's got to be on. Everything has to be this way. You know, it's your job to keep everything clean and take care of everybody. And I was running myself to the bone. And I was exhausted. Leaning on the power of delegation. I'm about to call the house cleaners tomorrow.
Talk about it.
I'm like, you know, just leaning on the power of delegation. Like, it's not worth being stressed out. Especially, you know, when you can delegate to take things off of your load. My next thing is finding somebody, a laundry delivery service to come take care of all this laundry. You know, we talk about Proverbs 31. She had, you know, she had handmaids. Handmaids were there to help her so that she wasn't doing everything all by herself. So that's how she was able to get up before the family and go to bed after the family and, you know, make sure that her family wore the very best and go and buy and sell land and trade down at the marketplace. She was a businesswoman, but she had support systems in place to support her because she could not do it all. Trying to do it all will leave you stressed. Trying to do it all will leave you feeling disgruntled because you feel like you're doing it all and nobody else is pulling their weight. And especially for those of us, like my husband, he is not home every night. He travels for work. So I have to lean on help so that everything literally is not on me, especially since I'm managing virtual schooling and running a business. I'm like, you know what? If I can do it, I can do it. If I can't, I can't. And I'm not going to beat myself up about it. Things might not be or look the exact way I want them to be. But you know what? My family is healthy. My family is happy. When my husband comes home, you know, I need to have the energy to make him feel welcome and loved and give him some attention because he misses me, you know, and we can't do that if we are burning the rope at both ends.
You said it. Somebody said, hey, Lauren. She said, yes, normalize asking and receiving help. I'm so glad that you said that about delegating. I was just talking to a close friend the other day and she was like, Shonda, I think I'm about to hire a maid or somebody to come and help clean. You absolutely should. Like, why not? Like,
asking for help. you know, and if I can pay a few $100s so you guys can come and clean up, you know, and it looks great while I can go and rest, or even spend some time with my kids, or even do something to make some money, you know, do something that's going to bring me triple the amount that I'm paying you, then why wouldn't I do that?
Yeah.
So I'm like, and my husband helps too. He does, like when he's here, he pitches in as well. So it's definitely an all hands on deck type of thing, and not a you have to handle all of this. And I think that those were expectations that I was putting on myself, and those were expectations that I was putting on myself. And I think that when we got married, my husband had certain expectations too of things that he thought marriage should be. And we had to grow through that, because what we thought marriage should be, we realized wasn't going to work for us, our personalities and our lifestyles. And we had to make adjustments.
Listen,
we had to make adjustments. And part of my adjustment was being willing to admit that I couldn't do it all. Being willing to acknowledge I ain't want to do it all.
Say that.
And delegating. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think at first, because I had said something about delegating like maybe 2 years ago, and somebody was like, oh, I've got to be the one to clean my house. And I'm like, well, that's you. But in that 3 hours, I can literally go and make $5 to $10 grand if I secure a client, and then go sleep, take a nap, or play with my kids. I could do the same thing, but I can pay somebody else to do it.
Listen, you said a word. Angela said, hey, Angela, she said, women can be quick to build the empire, but hesitate to build a village of support. That is so true. Like you said,
right.
We want to do it all. We want to, like that lady was telling you, well, I got to be the one. Well, okay, you do that, but
next thing, and without the village of support, you can't sustain the empire that you build, because you're going to be burnt out. You won't be able to handle all of it. You can't handle the demands. And this is why we have folks walking around saying that they're depressed, saying that they have anxiety. Now you're dealing with weight gain and health issues, and it's really stress. And when you have the power to relieve stress off your plate.
And like you said, the key is, if that's what works for you, that's good. You can do that. But for a lot of women, and most women, that's not feasible, because like you said, you're going to end up stressed. You're going to have anxiety. You're going to just stress eat and all that stuff. And I've seen it. And I don't even have children.
I've been it.
Listen.
I've been it.
Yes. Somebody said, I'm facing that now. Well, Kelly, we hope that you are empowered by this word that Jasmine's giving. So hopefully it will encourage you to get some help however you can. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, that's the thing. Like, ask for it.
I think so many, especially Black women, either don't know how to ask. We've been taught not to ask. Because my mom raised me, don't ever ask nobody for nothing.
For nothing.
Don't you do it yourself. Don't ever ask nobody for nothing. And either you grew up seeing mama do it all, or you've been taught not to ask, or because of dealing rejection or betrayal or some type of heartbreak, you just don't want to ask. And one of the keys to elevation and the keys to freedom in life and in your emotions is being able to admit when you need the help, because none of us can do it all alone, you know?
Yes. Oh.
And in some cases, it's being willing to give up control.
That part. And I don't think a lot of people are honest with themselves about that. It's just, well, I got to. You don't have to. You're choosing to, as part of like your control issues that goes a little deeper under the surface, but we're not always quick to admit it.
Right.
You know. You hit that on the nail.
And sometimes it could just even be a fear of what other people are going to think. You know, well, what are other people going to think if I do this or if I do that? Or, you know, you just got to remove all of that and just really live for you.
Speaking of living for you, that is a perfect transition to one of my questions. you have this wonderful quote on your page when you talk about God-given gifts. And you said, take your eyes off other people and what others are doing. Put your eyes on God and on your own gifts. You can't get what's yours by looking at others. I'm like, what? And that's so applicable to marriage, to success, business, all of that. And you were open about like how you eliminated certain distractions and certain things, and you shifted your focus so that you could truly focus on what you needed to be doing based on the gifts that God had given you. So talk to us a little bit about like that journey and how like what did you do? What was those distractions that you got rid of to make sure that like, okay, I need to focus on what God is calling me to do versus what everybody else is doing?
Getting off of social media land. And what I mean, and I don't mean getting off, because clearly I have a social media platform, yes, but being more intentional about how I use it when I use it. Like, I don't watch TV. I like to browse social media. But you can come across certain people or profiles who may say things that trigger you, or you're looking at them and saying, man, how come I haven't accomplished this yet? Or you go into a space of comparison, when the truth is you really don't know the truth. You only know what they're showing you, and what they're showing you could be a total lie. And here you are comparing your real life to somebody else's literally curated feed, selective feed. And for me, it was muting people, unblocking people who were putting up things that did not align with my spirit. People who were posting or saying things like, there are a lot of people who are out here who like to do the snatch your edges talk. And while it's beneficial sometimes to be hearing it all the time, that's all you do, sometimes it can come across as condescending. And I'm like, if that's how I feel, let me just unfollow you, because I'm not going to ever buy nothing from you. Because my spirit doesn't align with yours. And I don't like the way you talk. So, just doing things like that, like, I'm not going to ever I would never hire you, or I would never work with you. I just would not. I don't care how good you sound. That ain't what I want.
The energy that you got,
right? And it's snaps. And I'm like, there's a time and place for that, but every day it's coming with you need to, you not. You know what? I don't want to see that. Yeah. Because that can, if you're not careful, ingesting too much of that can drive you into feeling like you're less than. Especially, with people who have a gift for speaking or whatnot, or they say things, that can drive you into self-doubt if you're not careful. Hey, Gina, if you're not careful. And so one of the things I did a few years ago, or like if I found myself just ingesting too much of people's content. Yeah. Like I had, there was a young lady who I used to look at her stories all the time because her stories were engaging, they were funny. But I'm like, you know what? I haven't gotten anything done. And I will never forget the time I spent 3 hours on a live stream. I spent 3 hours listening to somebody's live stream. Wow. And while it was entertaining, when I got off, God was like, you spent 3 hours doing that, but you still hadn't done what I told you to do. I could, I'm just like, where can I, the energy, the attention and focus that I've just given to that, even if I'm listening to it while I'm doing something else, what could I have done with that time that's going to push me forward? So that's what I mean. Like taking your eyes off of other people. It's good to connect. It's good to network, but you have to make sure that you are intentional and focused and dedicating as much, if not more, of your attention to what you're doing, whether you're in business or whether you're with your family. Like Clubhouse is the thing. If you spend 30 minutes listening to a Clubhouse, could that have been 30 minutes that you spent with your kids? It's just like, you have to weigh the options, like you have to really look at how you're utilizing your time, because while we might feel like, oh, it's harmless, I'm just listening to an audio, in reality, the people around you could be feeling some different kind of way, especially if you're doing that every day, all day. So we just have to make sure that we're utilizing how we are managing our time, our energy, and our focus, and making sure that we're not putting more into other platforms than we are into us, our responsibilities, and doing the thing that God has called us to do.
Oh, that's good. That is so good. I think especially like you said before, a lot of people are attracted to the idea of success, but it's like they don't really want to do what you really got to do to get that success. And I think social media has contributed to that entire narrative, because it's like everybody wants this and wants that and wants this type of feed. And it's like, but you don't even know what happens behind the scenes, what it takes to put out the video. Like, you just don't even know the books, all of that. It's like people don't even know. One of my last questions, I know a lot of people are familiar with you because you help so many people with their businesses and with their books and stuff. But some people may not know, like, when you started, you didn't really know what you were doing. Like, you just started, you was managing like mommyhood and school and stuff. And so I wanted to ask, like, you know, what that journey was like, and then offer up any encouragement for, you know, someone like who was like that or maybe in that position. Especially, I know you talk a lot about like listening to that supernatural feeling within you. And so, like, just wanted you to share about your journey, and then also encourage some other woman who may be listening.
Yeah, I was all over the place when I started. That's where the time me and you met.
I never would have known. I never would have known.
I was sitting up talking about relationships and stuff, and because my book had just came out, and I was sitting up talking about relationships. I was still working, trying to figure out the online space. You know, I didn't know what I was doing, but I was trying, you know. And people, like, for me, people kept coming to me, asking me to help them with their book. And I just thought maybe it was because I had a book and I published a book, so you guys are interested. But I didn't think I never considered the fact that people knew that I was a language arts teacher, you know, and had been, you know, people knew that about me, and apparently thought that I could help them. And so, you know, I got to a point where what I was doing wasn't working. It wasn't working the way that I knew that it had the potential to work. I was making a few $100s here and there, but I knew that there was greater, and I kept hitting a wall with what I was trying to do. So I was like, God, I feel you pulling me to do this, but I lack clarity. And part of the lacking clarity came from me looking at other people, looking at the relationship gurus, looking at the old Cooper Chanel Sykes and the Tony Gaskins and all of that whole crew that was popular back then. You know what I'm saying?
Tell me about it.
So I was busy looking at them, thinking that, oh, I got to be like that, you know, and I need to talk about relationships, the Derek Jackson, and, you know, I need to talk about this and women's empowerment. I didn't know what to do. All I knew I wanted to do was help women, but I didn't know how to articulate that. And so I literally I had been praying, and all of these people kept coming to me, asking me to help them. But I was sending them to my friend LB. You know LB.
Yes. Like, it's like, now I send them all to you. I'm like, go talk to Jasmine.
So I was sending all of them to LB because me and LB were members of Black Girls Run. We used to run together. And so she was like, Jazz, why aren't you doing this? Like, you know how to do this. So her and my husband were in my ear. I was just like, because that ain't what I want to do. You know, I'm trying to follow my passion and all this and that. I have you know, and I fasted. I took, after several months, I fasted. And I said, okay, God, I got to hear from you. So I didn't like post for like 2 weeks. And I literally went on a 10-day fast. A 2-week fast where I didn't read, watch, or listen to anything that wasn't spiritual in nature. So I was out running one morning, and it was just like, you need to teach people how to write their book and build their business. And I was just like, who's going to listen to me? Who's going to buy that? Who's going to buy that? Like, nobody's going to buy it. Again, you need to write your book and build your business. So I called a friend of mine. I was just like, listen, I was out running, and I literally felt in my spirit God telling me this is what I need to do. I'm like, well, I don't have anything to lose at this point because I ain't gaining nothing. And I've been running from it because people have been asking me. I said, let me just, because I was getting clients and I wasn't promoting. I was editing, I wasn't promoting. I said, well, let me promote it. And the floodgates fell. And the thing about it was I didn't want to do it because I thought it was gonna be too much like my job. But it was a skill that I had already been doing, had done for years, and I was good at. I've always been good at language arts and English since I was a kid. Like, that was my thing, you know? And so I realized that in doing that, I was able to help and empower women in the way that I wanted to. And it opened up the doors for me to talk about motherhood, to talk about marriage, and to talk about self-care and all of those things I was trying to talk about previously. And it was simply through not doing something that I was super passionate about, because when I started, I wasn't passionate about it, but in helping people accomplish their goals and helping them step into their purpose, it ignited my passion, you know? So I think that a lot of times we think that we have a sense of, oh, I'm passionate about something and this is what I want to do. But God is just like, listen, this is your gift. This is something that you've always done. So now it's just time for you to use it in a different way. And that's going to open up the doors for you to actually operate and move in your passion. So for those of you all who are starting out, the one thing that I think that you have to do is not compare yourself to anybody. The second thing that I think that you have to do is be patient with yourself. All right. I think that we have to have it all figured out, and all of us are figuring it out as we go. You know, like you can get the coaching and everything, because I invest high level in coaching, but even in that, even in strategy, you have to find your own, you have to figure out how to make it work for you and what you're doing, you know? So, and you have to give it time. I think that we start something and we don't get immediate results. We want to throw it away. And it's just like, no, you got to give this thing time. I'm like, imagine I had aborted the mission. Imagine I had given up and threw in the towel. I wouldn't have been able to help hundreds or thousands of people. You got to give it time. You got to stick in with it, even when it gets rough. And when you feel like you should be doing something else other than you're doing, trust it. That's not something that's God leading you. Trust it, even if you don't understand it, because the only thing you can do is try it, and it's either going to work out or it's not. And if it doesn't work out, then you can make a pivot and try something else. And that's, I think, and I was talking to a client and I was like, listen, you don't have to have it all figured out. You're not going to. I'm like, and you can't allow this space of this wanting to be perfect and show up perfect to stop your progression. I'm like, you're going to figure it out. You're going to gain more clarity by doing. But if you stay inside of your head and feeling like you got to have this one thing done before, no, this one thing is going to keep you stuck, but you're going to get the clarity you need through actually taking action.
Yes. Somebody, Natasha said, this is more timely than you know. Get off my block. And I'm so glad that you shared that, because I was just talking to a dear friend the other day, and, you know, I was trying to encourage her about her business. She has this wonderful idea. I know she would be phenomenal at it, but she's like, I just get overwhelmed. And I'm like, girl, you got to do it through that. Like, I get overwhelmed every Tuesday night and Wednesday. I get overwhelmed. Like, writing a book, you talking about overwhelmed, writing, publishing, marketing. It's a lot, but like, you just have to push through that. Because like you said, you have that gut feeling. God is already, like, you have that feeling, you have that intuition. That's God speaking through the Holy Spirit. But it's like, we just cripple ourselves and we get stuck, like you said, because it could be one thing where you feel overwhelmed, or you feel like, well, I don't have this figured out. It's like, God will take care of it, but at least do something, like start somewhere. So I'm so glad you said it. Shanika said, yes, I agree. You are speaking to me. Thank you. Yes, Jay.
And this is the thing that gets me. People are so quick to say, God told me to do this, but God never said it was going to be easy.
You're preaching.
Like if we look at Jesus's journey, he was fulfilling the call of God on his life, but it was not easy.
Wasn't easy.
It was the most horrific thing ever. So do you really feel like going in the call, you know, walking on the path that God has called you is just going to be easy and fall in your lap? And just because you get overwhelmed or you get frustrated or things don't turn out that you're supposed to quit, if you quit, that means that you trust in your fear more than you trust in your faith. And you really, at the end of the day, don't believe in what you say God is telling you to do. Because when you do, that means, you know what, no matter what, no matter how it feels, no matter how frustrated I am, I know things are not working out the way that I think they should. I know it don't look like, you know, what I would like it to look like. But God, I'm going to trust you because I know you told me to do this. I'm going to trust you. I'm going to show up, and I'm going to trust you to give me the wisdom. I'm going to trust you to give me the clarity. God, you are the ultimate coach. I'm going to trust you to align the divine connections in my life to help me get to the next level. I'm going to trust you to provide the funds that I need to do the thing that you're telling me to do. Because if you're telling me to do it, you're not going to leave your promise void. You're going to provide.
Say that. You done took us all the way to church. Tasha said she just flatlined. Tasha's gone. Somebody check on Tasha.
I've been in my closet on my face praying and crying because I want to give up, because it didn't look, praying and crying for clarity, praying and crying for a breakthrough. But it's just like, God, you told me to do this. Even when I'm down to my last, times when I've been like, I'm not like this now, but sometimes I've been down to my last dime in my business. God, you told me to do this. You have to provide. Three clients will come through in the next 24 hours. Boom, boom, boom. You're good. Like, but you got to work through it. You got to press through it. You got to believe through it. And you still got to show up through that.
Yeah, you got to show up through that. Because
it's growth. It's those are things, there are things that you're going to learn on different stages that you're going to need to sustain you to, sustain you when you grow to the next level, other levels. So if you say you want a 6-figure year or even a 6-figure month, you have to have the foundation to be able to sustain that. It's not, if it come overnight, it's going to go overnight, because you're not going to have the mental, spiritual, and emotional fortitude to handle it.
Yes. Listen, somebody pass the plate, because I know that someone in this, I already know because the chat is lit. So I already know they done got a word. But for those that's going to tune into the replay, like, I can't wait, because somebody just needs to hear that, and somebody needs to just be encouraged by that. Because, like, you're doing it. You're a wife, you're a mom, you're an entrepreneur. Like you said, it's not going to always be easy, but you have to push through. You have to keep going. So, I just love that. So, listen, we got about 8 minutes left, which with a little spare time since Instagram lets us go a little longer. But I want to do our rapid fire round.
Okay.
And wrap it up. This is one of my favorite parts of the show. So ladies, make sure y'all drop y'all's comments in the chat as well. Keep showing Jasmine some love, because listen, she has been bringing a word. And if you're just tuning in, you can catch the replay right after this, because whole word. That's all I got to say. Okay, so are you ready?
Sure, yeah.
All right. First one, PDA. Are you here for it or no?
I love it. I'm here for it.
Me too. Who's the better driver, you or him?
He is.
Oh, I like that you admitted that.
He is.
I don't know if I would admit it. I probably be like, no, I am. Which I really am. Who's more likely to apologize first, you or him?
Ooh, he is.
Oh, nice.
He is. Cause I stonewall. I'll be like, I'm not talking.
Yeah, that's my husband. Who's more of the morning person, you or him?
Me, all day.
Rise and shine. Who's more likely to initiate cuddling?
He is.
He's
the affectionate type.
Oh,
I have a million tasks open in my brain, like, oh, you gotta do this, you gotta do this, and him, he's like, you need to slow down and let me.
Thank you, Jasmine. I'm like, what they say, it's like in a creative's mind, it's like Internet Explorer with all the tabs. Even I use Chrome, but it's it's all the all the tabs open. It's like,
it really is. I have tabs open. That's the best way that I can explain it. Between the kids and other things, I'm like, and he's like, you know what? You need to come and chill out. You need to come and relax.
See, that's why I love the balance of it all. I love that. Hair scarf on or off during sex?
Oh, off.
Okay. All right.
Off.
Who takes longer to get ready, you or him?
Me.
Interesting. I love this honesty. Home cooked meal or takeout?
I like to cook. I think it's a 50-50.
Okay. Does he
Yeah,
cook too?
we had takeout tonight, but I like to cook. So
Okay.
on a good night, home cook.
Okay.
On a rush night, we getting takeout.
Yes. Listen, we had takeout tonight as well. Your personal favorite Black love movie of all time?
Love Jones.
Yeah. That's a good one right there.
Love Jones. Yeah, that's my favorite.
That's one of my favorites. I still think, hands down, it's one of the best love scenes ever.
It is.
I've yet to see a movie with a better sex love scene, like, period. And then the last one, but sometimes controversial, toilet paper, over or under?
Over.
Yeah. That's over. Right.
Over. Yes. That drives me up the wall. You put it under, or you leave the cardboard. I was like, oh my God.
My husband did that.
Y'all couldn't just get this empty toilet paper roll and put in the trash? Did y'all have to leave it on the floor?
Exactly. I just told my husband, I was like, look what you did to me. Like, because he left the cardboard. I was like, look what you did to me. Like, this is it. Well, you survived. So, oh my gosh, Jasmine, this was phenomenal. I am so just thankful for you and all that you're doing. I see the stories, I see the reviews on your pages and stuff, and I know that you are true. That's why I told you earlier, I send people your way. When they're like, can you, I don't mind like talking a little bit and giving like, this is what happened. But then when it's like, I'm like, I just can't, I think I still have PTSD from just like, because you know the publishing process is a lot, and like it's just a lot. So I commend you because I know how hard you work and how hard you go for your business and your family. So before we close out, I want you to share like how people can follow you, if you have like boot camps or anything coming up, how they can like get coaching sessions with you, and then also what are you toasting to tonight?
Oh, cool. So yeah, you can follow me at Jasmine Womack on Instagram. If you're on Clubhouse, I'm on Jasmine Womack, even though I haven't been on there much.
Me too.
And my website is www.jasminewomack.com. It's getting an overhaul. So yeah, you'll be able to see everything that I do on there in the next 30 days because right now my website is horrible.
We all need an upgrade. I'm right there with you, girl.
Yeah. And I forgot, what was the other thing you had asked?
Oh, just anything if you have like boot camps or how they can sign up or what you're toasting to.
Our next cohort is starting the Write Your Book in a Weekend. Is starting in February. So you definitely, if you've been interested, you definitely want to go and apply now. It is an application-based program because you have a few weeks of pre-work to do before I Write Your Book in a Weekend. So you can go to authormadeeasybootcamp.com to apply to the boot camp. And yeah, and then we're gonna toast. Let me find me a cup because I've been drinking water.
And that's fine. I had water the other week because I was like, Lord, I need to flush out my system.
So I have my water here. I love your mug. I need one of those.
Thank you. Listen, Etsy comes through for you, girl. I'm trying to find a Black-owned person that can make me some, like a Black-owned business, make me some, because I found somebody on Etsy, but I would love to support somebody.
Sell those. I want to buy one from you.
Listen, I actually want to start giving them away. I'm like, I know I could sell them, but I'm like, I really just want to give some away.
No, I'll buy one. It looks it looks like the perfect mug that fits in your hand, and like this is mine. Like everybody in this house, no, it's mine. It's perfect, it's mine.
I got a purple and a white one. But anyway, yeah. So what are you toasted to? And I love the comments and how y'all are showing her so much love in the comments. But yes, what are you toasting to tonight?
Now I'm toasting to health. I'm toasting to peace, prosperity. I'm toasting to that we have a sense of decorum and respect back in the White House.
Cheers.
I have to look online or on TV and see anybody being insulted or anything crazy. So cheers to that.
Cheers to
a Black woman in the VP.
What you said, like I said on Twitter, we ain't had an inspirational, uplifting speech from a sitting president in 4 years, and we had one finally today. So
and it feels weird to hear it. It's just like we all been suffering from some kind of PTSD. Like it feels like we have to get retrained. Okay, no antics, no What happened?
My fellow Americans, the fact that he actually talks to us,
Right.
people, like,
right.
I'm like,
Because
oh yeah,
I forgot we
me.
never got that from Trump. Okay.
Look, she knew. She said, listen, she said, WivesWineDown should be over by now.
Oh, this time I can go to sleep.
Right. Hi.
The boys for you.
Matter?
It's okay. It's okay.
You are so
It's
cute.
okay.
You're going to get your treat. Listen, we're going to wrap it up now so you can go with mommy and have your treat. Say hi to the people.
Say hey to everybody.
He's like, hey. Well, thank y'all so much, Jasmine. Thank you so much. And the replay will be posted right after this. As y'all can see, this is real life. This is real women, real moms doing real things. And we don't judge because this is real life. Like, this is what you got to do. But you see Jasmine is holding it down and like holding it down with her children and still being a boss. So you can do the same. But thank y'all so much. And
thank you.
Have a good
Sorry
week.
about this, but thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.